Hello, thanks for clicking and welcome back to this next Unalgebra 1 production. Today we are going to talk about point slope form, my favorite form of a line because it's the easiest one to write and hopefully you guys will find it easy too. So let's get started and talk about point slope form. So point slope form, similar to slope intercept form, right? For slope intercept form, you would need the slope and the y-intercept, right? So slope intercept form, okay, you need the slope and y-intercept, right? Where those are the information, those are the things that you can get from the form, the slope and the y-intercept. Hence why we call it slope intercept. All right. Today we're going to talk about point slope form. So hopefully you can imagine what information you can get from point slope form to create yourself a line or draw yourself a line. It's obviously going to be the slope and any point on the line. Okay, so you're going to get a point on the line and the slope from point slope form. All right, so let's show you what it looks like here. We had that back on the previous slide as well. But point slope form, here is point slope form. It looks a little bit complicated. Okay? It's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Now these x1s and y1s may look a little bit familiar to you because you saw them or you've seen them before when you found the slope, right? They were part of that formula to find the slope. Okay? So it might look a little bit familiar to you, the idea of x sub 1, y sub 1. All right, so point slope form, here's what it does. Okay, it tells you m is the slope. Here's m, it's located right there next to the set of parentheses, easy to find. Okay, and x1, y1 is a point. Okay, it's a point on the line. All right, and they can be found, well, here's your x1, and here's where you look for your y1. Okay, that's where you look for them. All right, there's going to be numbers there. And then we're still going to have some variables in our form, x and y. So this x is going to be a variable. All right, and this y is also still going to be a variable. All right, and that should make sense to you because I could write something in slope intercept form, y equals mx plus b, and of course, it still has an x in it and a y in it. That's what makes it linear. Okay, that x and that y, that's still in that equation, even though, you know, it's not filled in. All right. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to graph lines in point slope form. There's really only one tricky thing about this that you kind of have to be able to navigate through. But once you get the idea, you can do it all day long. All right, so here's our first one. We're going to graph this using point slope forms. Now, if you remember, point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. All right, so we need two things to graph this line, and we can get two things from point slope form. We can get a slope, and we can get a point that's on the line. Okay, so my slope appears right here, right before the parentheses. My slope is going to be 2, which I'm just going to turn into a 2 over 1, so I can use rise over run on it. Okay, and then I also need a point. Now the point is going to show up, my 1 coordinate is going to show up here. This is going to be my x coordinate, and then my y coordinate is going to show up here. But the point is the thing that's a little bit tricky because the equation has a minus sign in the middle of it, right? It has minus signs before the y and the y1, before the x and the x1. So when you look at this equation, a lot of people think, oh, the point is -1, -2. But it's not because the equation itself has a minus sign in it. So the point is going to be really the opposite of the numbers that you see. So instead of using -1 and -2, the point is going to be positive 1, positive 2. Okay, and that's because of the minus sign that shows up in the formula. That's what makes you have to do the opposite. All right, so let's see how you go and graph this now. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go graph your point. So you're going to go right 1, 2 up, make a point. And now from here, we're going to use our slope and rise over run. So we're going to rise 2 and go 1 to the right, 2 up, 1 to the right, 2 up, 1 to the right. We could also go 2 down and 1 to the left, 2 down, 1 to the left, 2 down, 1 to the left. And we're going to draw through the whole graph. Okay, I really should be connecting all the points, and there's your line. You're all done. All right. All right, so we're going to practice a few more until you get the hang of it. Okay, I promise you'll definitely have the hang of it. And if you get the hang of it earlier, well, then try them on your own and just check, make sure you got them right. Okay, all right, so here's the next one. Y minus 3 equals 3 times the quantity x minus 7. This is written in point slope form. So we're going to be able to get a slope from this and a point from this. Okay, my slope, here's my slope. It shows up right there. This is where the m is. Okay, so my slope is going to be 3, which I'm going to turn into a 3 over 1, so I can use rise over run. And then I can also get a point from this, an x and a y. Here's my x coordinate. Here's my y coordinate. So my x coordinate is going to be 7. Okay, it's negative 7 inside, so it's going to be positive 7 for the point. And then it's negative 3 there, so it's going to be positive 3 when I use my point. Okay, and again, that's all because of the formula has a minus sign in it. So we're going to go 7 spaces to the right and 3 spaces up to graph our point. And now from here, we're going to rise 3 and run 1, rise 3, 1 to the right, or we could go down 3, 1 to the left, down 3, 1 to the left, and, oh, I missed. And there's your line. You got it, okay? You got a point, you got a slope, you can make a line. All right, let's try another one. Here we go. Okay, so now we have y plus 4 equals 1/3 times the quantity x plus 2. This is written in point slope form. Here is point slope form again. Mx minus x1. So it's written in point slope form. I can get a slope and a point from point slope form. So my slope, here it is. It's right here. 1/3. And then my point, okay, now remember, it's opposite of whatever's there. So instead of x being positive 2, it's negative 2 for x. And then my y coordinate, instead of it being positive 4, it's going to be negative 4. Okay? That's because, again, there's supposed to be minus signs here, right, in this formula, but there's not. So we have to do the opposite. All right, so we're going to go 2 to the left, 4 down, make a point. And then my slope is 1/3, so we're going to rise over run again. Okay, so we're going to rise 1, run 3, rise 1, run 3, or we can go down 1, left 3, down 1, left 3. Go all the way through the graph, and there's your graph. You're all done. And there's your graph. All right. Here we go. We got a couple more left, and then that's pretty much all there is to it. So we're going to graph using point slope form. This is in point slope form. I can get a slope and a point from it. So my slope is going to be negative 4, which I can turn into negative 4. Let me do it next in the next line, which I can turn into negative 4 over 1. Okay, that's going to be rise over run. And again, be careful when you have a negative slope. Remember, only one of the numbers can be a negative, right? Only one of those numbers can be a negative, either the 4 or the negative 1. You can't have negatives on both. All right, and now my point, remember, it's opposite. So instead of minus 5 for x, it's going to be positive 5. Instead of positive 2 for y, it's going to be negative 2. So I'm going to go over to 5, down 2. Oh, man, let me erase this point. That's here. It doesn't belong there. And make my point. And now I'm going to go down 4, 1 to the right, down 4, 1 to the right, or I could go up 4, 1 to the left. Connect all the points, and you have your line. Okay, that's it. You got your line there. All right, so one more, and then you're on your own. You're going to try some for me. So let's find the slope and the point. Okay, maybe you want to do this one as a practice before you have to do it for real on your own. Okay, so the slope is going to be negative 2/3. So like I said, maybe you want to practice, try it on your own first. All right, just pause the video. And then instead of x being positive 4, it's negative 4. And instead of y being negative 1, it's positive 1. So we're going to go 4 over to the left, 1 up. And now my slope is negative 2/3. So I can either write negative 2 over positive 3, or I could write positive 2 or over negative 3. You can do it either way. But again, you can't have a negative on both. So we're going to do rise over run. I'm going to go down 2, 3 to the right, down 2, 3 to the right, or I could go up 2, 3 to the left, up 2, 3 to the left. And if I can make my points, I have my line. Okay, and that's all there is to this. All right, you are have something written in point slope form. So you need to find the slope, and you need to find your point. Okay, and then you can graph the point, and then use the slope to get to all the other points, and then you can graph your line. Okay? All right, so now it's going to be your turn coming up. Here we go. Your turn. Again. 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 Last time. And that's the end of the video. All right, as always, thanks for clicking on this Unargeable One production. See you soon.